And here we are. Well, hello everyone. This is John Eustice, and I am with live um, the legendary and great Chris Horner, one of the greatest cyclists in American racing history, winner of the Tour of Spain, one of the Grand Tours, along with the Tour de France, the Tour of Italy, winner of the Vuelta a Catalunya. Yes, right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a great race in Spain, in Basque Country, in the rain and with all those mountains.
Actually, the year I won it was sunny every day in '85.
That's how you got him.
That's the problem.
So let me ask you a question. You are now in your 40s, and you're still racing at the. Look, wait till you catch up with me. I'm in my 60s now, so don't worry. You're a young man. Oh my goodness. And so, but I feel that the media's kind of missed the boat on this a little bit, because for me, it's absolutely fascinating to find out how a guy of your age, who's been in the pros for 2 decades.
Yeah, 2 decades.
2 decades of professional racing,
Yeah.
not la-di-da racing.
Yeah, I raced with Miguel Indurain.
Wow. I raced with Miguel Indurain.
Of course you did.
I did. I raced Miguel Indurain in the 1985 Tour of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 19 years old, a young kid, and you knew right away he was this massive star. They just treated him like a racehorse, with blankets over his shoulders, and he was a little bit heavy and this and that, but he had something. You didn't know who he was, but you knew he was on his way.
Yeah, it was all beauty.
Oh man, he was great.
See it. You can see it in him. You can see it in him. It was all just a beautiful style, beautiful pedaling style, beautiful on the bike. You knew there was something going.
Yeah, it was special creature. But how do you keep your motivation? And what do you sort of do maybe differently in training or approach? Are there any things you've changed majorly as you've gone older? Do you have to do less volume and more intensity? It might be interesting for some of us who are a bit older to find out how you stay at such a high level at this age.
I think the biggest thing at this age is, first you got to get out of bed carefully. After that, once everything starts loosening up and stuff, it's really a stretching routine. I mean, I'm doing at least 30 minutes, but probably 50 minutes to an hour of stretching every day.
Wow.
And which, of course, changes your training a lot, too, because normally now you're adding an extra hour to the day of training, basically, because when you're stretching, you're still training, too. And it's a different workout, of course, than the bike, but it adds hours to your day. And if you do a 5-hour training ride or 6-hour training ride, and then you did an hour stretching before that, all of a sudden now your day is you got
nothing
an extra.
left.
Yeah, there's nothing left.
No.
Yeah, between fatigue and tired, and I got 4 kids and stuff, and one's only a year and a half. So between all those other obstacles, it gets a little more complicated to fit everything in.
As I said before, you truly are, with a newborn,
Yeah,
an endurance
oh, yeah.
athlete. You're an endurance athlete, man.
I have 18 turning 19 soon, 17, 14, and a year and a half. So, and I love the kids. I love the noise in the house. I love coming home. And of course, as many pro athletes will tell you, we live multiple lives in terms of when I'm in the U.S., when I was racing in Europe and I was in the U.S., the house is noisy and there's kids running around and there's their friends running around and everything. And then when you go over to Europe, it's dead quiet.
Right.
And so
It's a little sad and lonely over there sometimes.
yeah, it's sad and lonely.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way I put it too. And so you got to fine tune everything with training and all that stuff. But I would say absolutely the biggest thing with training is just the stretching.
Huh.
And then you got to train by feel. You cannot train by, this is what my diary says I need to do, or this is what I have to do today. If you go out today and you feel terrible, but you're supposed to ride 6 hours, you turn around at 2 hours and you call it a day.
That's such an interesting point, because what I find today with a lot of the new riders, the younger riders, they are so completely data driven with their right?
Yes.
And I remember, speaking of Paul Kirchley, Le Mans' old coach, he was the first sort of analytical genius of cycling. Remember? He was La Vie Claire, and first guy with the power meters, a Swiss genius. He lived like Dr. No up in a mountain in Switzerland somewhere. It's this mad genius type of guy. But he's really smart. We all know about him. And he said the same thing. He goes, the riders today, he had the Swiss accent. He goes, they just chase the numbers and they just enforce their bad habits. rather
Yes.
than using the numbers to teach you how to interpret the way you do.
I do everything by feel, and then the numbers, along with how I feel, tell me exactly how I'm going.
That's exactly what Kersey would say. So a fine-tuned ability to read and listen to your body. Do you think that's one of the
Oh.
advantages of being older? You have this accumulated experience.
Absolutely. Some point in time after 30 is when I started with every pedal stroke, you could tell how you're feeling.
Huh.
And as I'm training, and I'm not joking. I honestly mean it. Every pedal stroke, you're reading what your legs are telling you. It's like a computer reading its program throughout its whole process. It'll tell you if it missed something along the way. I can feel if I missed something along the way in the legs, and even when I can be with group rides, chatting with people, and I'm still reading the data of what the legs are telling me.
Huh. So interesting. Yeah. Always on. Always on.
It's always on. I can't turn it off. I wish I could turn it off sometimes. I just want to go out and ride my bike and just enjoy looking at the scenery, and I'm still reading what my legs are telling me.
Well, let me ask you this: and give me what you would do if you were getting ready. Say you were getting ready for Utah. All right.
Okay.
Give me like a hard training day. You go, okay, today I'm going to kick it up. Like walk me through a little bit.
Well, one of the training rides I did before Utah is 120-mile day.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have two really big climbs and you have smaller climbs, bumps more than anything else. And so maybe as I start off riding, I'm starting off pretty easy. So you're just riding about 200 watts for my weight. And that when I went to Utah, I was 138 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing 200 watts on the flats, easy, just kind of getting it going. Then hoping that after about 30 minutes, it starts to open up and you start doing 225 on the flats. And then when you get to the climbs, I like to see numbers where I'm going up the climbs between 300 and 350 for a substantial time. And if I'm seeing those numbers, I know I'm really ready to go to Tour of Utah. This particular year before Utah, I wasn't seeing those numbers, and I knew I wasn't ready to go to Tour of Utah. If you look at the press conference at Tour of Utah, I made it clear even in the press conference that there was no way I was going to stay with the leaders on the climb, because I knew before going in with the sensations that I had and with the power meter telling me what numbers I was seeing along with those sensations, I knew you weren't going to be first, second, or third. You hope for a change, and you know as well as I do that form in cycling, it can change from day to day dramatically.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. You can be bad 1, 2, 3 weeks in a row, and then all of a sudden you can come good. But I also knew, of course, during that period of training that I had some sinus issues and I had the lung problem. And so I also know if that just clears itself up before the mountain stage at Tour of Utah, all of a sudden I gained 25 or 50 watts. And you gain that throughout the race, too. It's not just at the last climb. So you're feeling better when you get to the last climb. But yeah, ideally, when you're training for Utah, to make it short and sweet, I prefer about 550 miles for the 3 weeks before I leave to go to Utah.
Each week?
Each week, yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
And do you structure those up into interval sessions, or are you mainly a hard tempo guy?
I've never done intervals in my entire life. So there you go.
There goes a whole school of coaching out the
Yeah, that's old school. If I feel good, the legs just start going faster.
Yeah.
And usually when I'm feeling really good, what happens is I can't even slow the legs down.
Yeah.
You start going faster, you're like, whoa, I don't know if I need to be riding that hard right now.
Right.
And so you back off. The next thing you know, you see yourself going faster again because your legs just want to go faster.
Huh.
It's not. Honestly, I've never done an interval. I've never gone up one climb, turned around and went down it, went back up it 3-4 times. I've always lived in places where there's multiple climbs all over. I grew up in San Diego. Now I'm living in Bend, Oregon for the last 15 years. And so there's enough climbs around to where I wouldn't need to do one repeat on a climb, especially in San Diego. I never understood somebody going to the top of the climb in San Diego, turn around and going back down and going back up to the top.
What?
There's another climb in the next valley, one over.
Yeah.
So why mentally fatigue yourself like that when you have so many options?
Right. Make it fun. That's the whole point of cycling. You train, but you have fun at the same time.
Yes, you enjoy it. I've enjoyed it my whole career. Clearly, there's times in the last 2 years where I'm sick, and I can't find the fitness that I want, that it becomes more of a job when you're out there, because the next day you're going to get bitch slapped again.
Right.
So and when you go out training, you want to do. I want to come home. Let's say I want to come home with a really big training day. I want to average 250 watts that day.
Right.
I want to do 5 hours. And the last climb you go up, I want to be over 400, and I want to feel good doing it over 400.
Right.
That's
when you don't feel the pedals, right?
Yes, when you don't feel the pedals. And honestly, every time I was getting ready to win a race, when I'm in San Diego training hard, I would do a 5-hour, 5.5-hour loop, and there was one climb, maybe only about 8 minutes long. But if I did that over 400 the whole time and felt good over 400, I knew I was ready to go.